Are you buying an RV?
Don't do it.
Don't do it unless you've got the ultimate guide to buying an RV.
Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes, and long story short, we RV in pursuit of freedom, independence, and adventure.
Because life is so short, you guys, and if you are in the market to buy an RV,
like we are,
you got to follow the ultimate RV buying checklist.
Look, here's the bottom line. If you can't answer these questions, you're not ready to buy an RV. So let's start with the basics. There's a spectrum when it comes to RVing that a lot of people don't know about. And it's the spectrum that on one end you have the glampers, and on the other end you have the people that'll poop in a bucket.
Exactly. And so
you need to know where you are in that spectrum.
If you guys cannot answer the questions from our very first class and all the way through, you're not ready to buy an RV. Now, assuming that you have been participating in our class so far and you've answered the questions in Mercedes worksheets all the way up to this point, we are going to show you how to prepare, get ready, and successfully buy an RV without getting burned.
The first thing you have to be crystal clear on is how many people are going to be RVing with you. If you're not really clear on a head count, you have no business buying an RV, because that's going to determine your floor plan and so much more.
Now guys, we're going back over the first 3 months of our newbie class that we've done the last Saturday of every month, and we've actually built you up to a place where you should be able to answer these questions.
The next question that you have to be able to answer is, how often do you really plan to RV? Are you full-time, part-time, weekend, seasonal, a week here and there? You got to get crystal clear on how you're going to use the RV and how long. Things like how far are you traveling are really going to determine your RV budget and the type of RV that's right for you. All right, so now the next phase of this, let's talk about what you bring when you're going to look at RVs. There's two different types of visits to the dealership. There's the looking at RVs and there's the buying an RV. They're very different types of visits. The first one, you're just trying to get familiar with all the RVs that you possibly can, sit in as many of them, walk through as many of them, just get a feel and a lay of the land.
Sit in the toilet, get in the shower, spread out your elbows.
Exactly. And when you're going to look at RVs, which is not the same as buying, there's certain things that you should really bring with you. For one, you should bring snacks, because I don't know about you, but my decision-making abilities go downhill fast when I'm hungry.
She's true.
The other thing that you should bring with you are things like, if your cell phone has a camera, keep that handy so you can take pictures of things, a pen and paper so you can write down notes, a flashlight, because you really need to get in the RV and look at everything.
You've got to test everything to make sure it's working.
The one thing you don't want to bring when you're just looking at RVs is your checkbook.
Leave your checkbook at home, guys.
You're just getting a lay of the land. You're just looking to see what's out there.
The salesman will sell you the dream. Get into your emotional. You don't want to make an emotional decision. So leave your checkbook at home.
The other thing that you need to get clear on, and you're going to get more and more clear on this as you look at more and more RVs, are three things. Your absolute needs, necessities, right? Can't live without. Your wants, the things that would be nice to have. And then the deal breakers, the things that you ain't touching with a 10-foot pole.
So if you answered all those questions leading up to this point in our newbie class over the past 3 months, you are ready to buy an RV. Woohoo! You're going to the RV dealership. You know the dealership has the make, model, and everything, the perfect RV that you've chosen. That's when you bring your checkbook.
That's right. So now let's say you're at the point where you're thinking, man, I might buy this RV right here. There's a lot of things in the interior and exterior that you should really be looking at. And one of the things that we give you in our ultimate checklist for buying an RV is an interior and exterior checklist that's going to help you so you don't miss really dangerous, there's a bee, so that you don't miss really dangerous things. For example, you know, you should kind of look under the RV. All right, so we got this in alphabetical order because we have to do everything in an orderly system. Let's start with the general exterior appearance.
Right, you've got your checkbook, you go into close in your RV, you get to the RV, you have food, you have your phone, you have all the tools that Mercedes told you to bring.
Screwdriver.
The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna walk around the outside of the RV and look at its appearance. Look for any problems, look for any damage, anything that's bent, anything that's cracked. These are all items you're gonna be looking for doing an exterior visual inspection.
Yep. And since we're doing this in alphabetical order, the awning. So A for awning, right? Look at all the awnings. The next one, baggage doors. Look underneath all the compartments. Look inside all the exterior compartments. The battery, if applicable, because sometimes the battery's inside and sometimes it's outside. The entry doors, you're gonna really want to do an inspection. Make sure they seal properly. Fluid levels, if it's a motorhome. Ladder, when you get on the roof, slides. You got to do a visual inspection on all the
Well,
slides.
and you got to test everything. One of the things you're going to want to do, I mean, most of the research you've done has probably been online with pictures. Maybe you went to some RV shows or you've seen this rig before. But you have to test everything and make sure that it works. Test the thermostat, test the ACs, both units if there's 2, sometimes 3. You're going to want to pull your slides in and out. See what it feels like when you pull the slides in. What's it going to be like driving down the road and pulling off to the side of the road to be able to use the bathroom? Things like that need to be considered.
Absolutely. A couple of other exterior items to really look at. The tires, you're going to want to do more than just kick the tires. You're really going to want to look at them, see what their specs are. You're going to want to get under the RV, look around, and also exterior windows. Make sure that everything is that the RV exterior is whole and functional and it does what it's supposed to do.
Every RV that's made now has these stickers somewhere on the RV. This is going to give you all the specs. This one tells us what our tires are, what the rating is, what the PSI should be. It talks about what the tongue weight is on this RV so we know what truck we need to pull this. This is going to point out all the capacities that this rig can safely carry. One of the biggest dangers that people do nowadays is they carry too much weight. We knew a guy that carried around these solid steel pans. He was a great cook. Cast iron pans, but he probably had 4,000 or 5,000 pounds in his RV. So always take pictures of everything that you do, or shoot video as you're walking around.
Yeah, with the camera phone, there's no reason not to.
Yep.
Ooh.
You're going to want to find out where your leveling system is, okay? We have a leveling system. This thing is a lifesaver. We absolutely love it. I can disconnect and pull away from my RV literally within 45 seconds of pulling up to a site, having this back off my truck and pulling out. You're going to want to check out your inverter, okay? You're going to want to, your batteries. How many batteries do you have? You want to take a look at the hydraulic system, make sure there's no leaks. You want to inspect absolutely everything. You want to find out where your propane tanks are. And this one, we love this.
That's so cool.
These pull out. They're really easy to change out. And then, of course, we have our gas stops on both. Gotta have a gas stop. If you need one, go to our store, buy it. It's the best price you'll ever get. Also, a big thing is your cargo or storage compartments. Is there enough room for you to use your RV the way you want to? There is not a ton of room in this rig because the kitchen is so big. But we made it work for more than a year and a half.
And then look at this nice little doohickey right here.
Yeah, this is to catch big suggestion. Get these. Just go buy these dollar tubes at the dollar store or whatever. They will save your head 1,000,000 times. I banged my head on this thing so many times. After a year, I finally went and got a noodle. But just go ahead and test all your outlets.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you want to test everything you possibly can. What you really hope when you're buying your RV is they actually have a 50 amp or a 30 amp site that they can pull over and let you do a full thorough walkthrough. If you possibly can, hook up your hoses. Yes, your pump to your tanks might work, but I highly suggest using a hose, making sure everything works. Check under the RV. Go underneath there. Look at your gas lines. But when you're hooked up, what you do want to do is, after you're hooked up to water, you want to see if there's any drips. Do you have any leaks in the RV? I would highly suggest that you stay on your hoses for at least 30 minutes, do your inspection, and when you're done, come back outside, look underneath, and see if you see any drips anywhere. That way you can avoid buying an RV that has, broken pipes or leaks somewhere.
He's wicked smart.
So you're going to want to visually inspect all your awnings. You're going to want to visually inspect all your exterior lights. Just make sure that everything works.
Yeah, and kick the tires. Can you kick the tires for me? Show people how to kick the tires.
If you're going to spend a lot of money in an RV, we believe you absolutely must buy a TPMS, a tire pressure monitoring system. The TST is hands down the best system on the market. Forest River actually is selling more and more RVs that come with this system already connected.
As they should.
But if they don't, guys, go ahead and buy a TST and check out our store. We've got them in there for the best price you'll find anywhere on the internet.
All right, what are we looking at here,
All right,
baby?
here's your control panel right here. All your water.
That's important.
These are junk. Make sure you get a clear source water filter. These are junk. They just make the water taste a little bit better. But if you don't have a good water filter, you are the filter. So make sure you get a clear source. And then you're going to see you have an outdoor shower here. This is where my galley dump is, right here.
Yeah, we have an extra tank.
This is where my black tank flush is. Always use a different hose We have just an old cruddy black hose that we use.
Ew.
Your water hoses should be drinking water hoses, not just junk hoses.
Not like the hoses you drink out of in summertime.
Most RVs will have a winterization blowout kit to get it winterized at the end of the thing. Every RV is going to have a little bit of a different system, but you definitely want to find out where your dump stations are. You have to have a TPMS. TST is the best. Not only do we monitor our tires, we monitor our spare right here. If that spare ever needs it, I don't have to go pulling stuff up to fill it up with air. I just plug right here, fill it up to the proper pressure.
That's pretty cool.
Come back here.
All right. Ooh, what's in there? Ooh, how exciting.
And this is just another compartment, guys, and this is usually where I keep my surge protector, which I use Hughes right now, but I'm looking at a new product that's coming out that's going to be revolutionary in the space.
You can't tell.
Right now, we use Power Watchdog. Right here is where they hide the black tank dump.
Ooh.
And I've got 2 gray tanks on this RV, one for the outdoor kitchen on the opposite side, and one for my gray, my shower, right? My faucets. The galley is separate. I already showed you that one. But in here is going to be my black tank, my gray one, and my gray 2.
Ah, look in there. Yep.
You're also going to need to jump up on the roof. With that said, you're going to have to go up a ladder to get up on that roof. We think that everybody that's buying an RV should get up on the roof of an RV, and obviously if you're afraid of heights, have somebody else do that for you. Yeah. But you need to jump up on that roof and inspect for crack caulking, any cracks in the roofing material. You also want to look for soft spots on the roof. That means that there's a leak and you've got some rotted wood under there. But you do want to walk around up there and just visually inspect everything and feel what it feels like on your feet.
All right, now let's talk about the inside of the RV and the interior inspection. Now, mind you, this is not a replacement for an official RV inspection. This is just something that as an RV buyer, you need to be on the lookout for.
If you're buying a used RV, you want to definitely have a professional RV inspector do a walkthrough on the RV.
Absolutely. All right, so I have these in alphabetical order, but we're in the kitchen, so we'll hop onto the kitchen stuff. All of the kitchen appliances, all of the kitchen plumbing, you need to test everything out. The stove, the oven, everything. It's not enough just to give it a visual inspection. You really need to try it all out and make sure it works.
Exactly. You're going to want to test your water. You're going to want to test your microwave. You're going to want to look at your fridge, test for the seals. You're going to want to look at absolutely everything. You're going to want to look at doorknobs. You're going to want to look for scrapes or scratches that need to be repaired.
And the other thing you really want to pay attention to when it comes to the interior, look at the ceilings and look at the walls for any sign of water damage, because the challenge is these things are basically tin cans, and when moisture gets in a tin can and it's dark, it gets moldy. So look for any water damage that you can find.
You can just look along the roof surfaces and see, is there any water damage whatsoever? As you can see, this one's absolutely perfect. It's never leaked, even though we had a problem.
Yeah. All right, so the other thing you really want to pay attention to are your control panels. And so the thing about the control panels that's so tricky is that the tanks don't always work. Like you would think, right? You would think that it works. But you really have to test this out and make sure it's accurate. You're also going to want to test out all the lights, make sure it's all working the right way.
You want to bring a circuit tester, check every single GFCI and outlet in the rig. Make sure you have power.
Absolutely. And can I tell you a secret, something that I don't know why this works this way, but if you do this, you'll just be so happy. You see these little screws? A lot of them are the squares. They're not like flatheads or Phillips. They're squares. So make sure you bring like a multi-headed screwdriver that definitely has that square thing. What's it called, baby?
Great point.
Yeah, because you'd think that with a regular screwdriver set you'd be fine. They make them special.
Everything in these RVs are square chucks.
Absolutely. And then in the bathroom, square chucks. The bathrooms, okay, so here's what's tricky about the bathrooms is that they are so, water is the enemy, okay? Water is the enemy. And when you have a dark space, it's enclosed, it's not good. So you need to test the plumbing and make sure that there is no signs of leaks. But don't hesitate to get an inspection to make sure that there's never been an issue.
Check the fan.
Ooh, the fan's another good one. You gotta check the fart fan, people.
That one's gotta be cleaned.
Yeah, that one doesn't pass inspection.
Sit in the toilet, please.
Okay. You gotta sit on the toilet, And then you gotta like do this number.
How are you really going to sit in the toilet? Do
Yeah.
you read on the toilet?
Yeah,
do you need to spread out?
Do you do YouTube videos on the toilet? You gotta like really do it like you normally would.
Jump in the shower, babe.
Well, that's another thing too, right? So this looks like a big shower, but when I step in...
Yeah, but that's a good size shower. That one is 32 inches wide.
For an RV, this is a really good shower.
It's a huge shower.
If I were super tall, I wouldn't have an issue because a lot of the RVs are, you know, not suited for tall individuals.
How about shaving your legs, babe? How about that bench?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Woo! Woo!
And guys, just go ahead and test everything. Look at every single thing in the RV. Do all the hinges work properly? Is everything attached properly? Everything. Look at doors. Look for any water damage under the sink. Because as Mercedes said, the sink is... So guys, you want to check the slides on everything.
Oh, yeah.
You basically want to check the water pressure. Turn everything on.
Yep.
Okay? Check everything. Check your water heater if you possibly can. This is broken. Huh.
Uh-oh.
Check your hinges.
We're telling everyone to check everything.
Make sure that the faucets work properly.
Oh,
that one needs to be repaired.
Oh no, is it leaking?
Yep, look underneath there.
Hey guys, this is a do as we say, not as we do kind of video. Alright. And then in the bedrooms, check the ACs. This RV has multiple ACs, so check on that. Just make sure and look inside everything because you'd be surprised. You could see, like, if there was water damage, sometimes you can't see it out here, but you can see it inside.
Another good idea, guys, is to ask where the water heater is located.
Yes.
Where is the furnace located? Some great tips are know where those things are. While you have the salesperson with you.
Let's go together.
Okay.
Let's go together. Yes, we're together now. I like
so guys,
this better.
it's super, super important that you ask some questions up front when you're walking through with the guy that hopefully knows the RV that he's trying to sell you, right? When you're doing your walkthrough. It's very important to locate items so you know where they are. Your water heater, where is it located? You want to know where your furnace is. Where is it located? We know our water heater is in the back of our sandpiper. Very easy to access if we have problems with it. As far as our furnace goes, our furnace is actually buried behind sage. Right down there, and getting access to it can be really, really tricky. That whole panel has to come off to get at it. So these are all great questions that you want to ask the guy who's checking you out or the guy that's showing your rig where everything is. Know where all these pieces are.
Yeah, and so now let's go through the most important part of the checklist. Let's do it together, baby.
No, I don't want to do it together.
You don't want to do it together?
No.
Okay. When it comes to the specs in your RV, you really need to know this information. You need to know all the specs to your tires, what their speed rating is, what type of tires you have. You need to know all the specs as far as what you can tow, how much capacity weight you have.
Safety is the most important.
That's right. Safety is the most important. And other things that are going to be really helpful, if you know offhand what the capacity is in your tanks, your life is going to be so much easier. Things like your black tank, your gray tank, your freshwater tank, how big are they? And are they really going to meet the needs that you have? So this is why it's so important to start with how are you going to use it, look at a boatload of them, and then you can dial down and do those exterior, interior inspections and then really narrow down those specs.
All the specs matter depending on how you RV. Is a 30-gallon waste tank big enough? Is a 45-gallon freshwater tank big enough?
Absolutely. And then the other piece that I think is so important is that don't just buy on floor plan, buy on specs. Because sometimes you see the floor plan, you love the layout, but if it doesn't hold enough water for your needs because you love to boondock for a week, then, you know,
It makes no difference.
It makes no difference. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Make sure you download the checklist. This is the most amazing checklist you've ever seen before, and we'll see you in the next video.